Hello, exiles. Let's talk. Po is in an unsteady place right now. Anyone who lived through the Nerf-ageddon of Expedition League understands this well, and honestly, a lot of what happened back then is very suspect now that we're living through Arch Nemesis integration. The game has been made a lot harder in the last year, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Path of Exile is, in many ways, a puzzle that needs to be solved. It cannot be allowed to become too easy, or it will lose its identity. That said, it's more frustrating than enjoyable right now, and I say that having gotten through this first week with good prospects in my build going forward. That is to say, even as a player who's doing fine with their build, I'm still feeling it. It's exhausting. But that's all new, and GGG is still actively changing things, so we've really got nothing to do but wait and see. And now you ask, but Winkers, why make a video? Excellent question, I'm so glad you asked. I want to talk about something that isn't in the public eye right now. I want to talk about minions, Spectre minions, zombie minions, skeleton minions, sentinels of dominance, purity, and absolution, and raging spirits that can look like swarms of bees too. Honestly, strong. Minion builds haven't been weak for a while now, although they haven't necessarily been dominant either. I personally league started dominating Blow, as many who follow the channel likely know, and it's been a good time. There's a problem though, an inherent flaw in Path of Exile's design that has been slowly creeping up as mechanics have become more complex. Basically, minions need to fuck right off sometimes. They do this thing called dying, which is frustrating because we only have so many tools to rescue them. Some of them, like Spectres, can be very difficult to resummon in the middle of combat. Now, I don't think we should make minions mortal. I'm not here to break the game. The game is fine in regard to general content, but anyone who has done Searing Exarch on a minion build will agree that locking Chris Wilson in an office while not letting him leave until he survives the meatball phase with a bunch of minions flying around would be both hilarious and cathartic. Now, all of that said, I'm not an asshole. That's not to say I wouldn't do that to Chris Wilson. I think the game would be a lot healthier if he were to experience firsthand the frustrations of a lot of the player base. But in situations like this, we need to think of Teddy Roosevelt. Who is Teddy Roosevelt? Asked the Europeans. Teddy Roosevelt was an American president who lived a real long time ago and basically was an over-the-top American before such a thing was even a trope. He won a Nobel Peace Prize, would challenge other world leaders to friendly boxing matches at the White House, and after refusing to shoot a bear that had been tied up for a photo shoot because it was unsportsmanlike, he became the inspiration for teddy bears. Teddy Roosevelt also said this: "Complaining about a problem without offering a solution is just whining." It's actually a much longer and better quote than what was paraphrased, but the point still stands. Now, how do we solve the minion problem? Easy! The tech is all, or at least mostly, there already. You know mines? Those skills I kind of hate on a little bit? When you equip one, you get a button called Detonate Mines. I'm proposing something for minions as well, something I want to call Stasis. I'm sure a lot of you already know what I'm getting at, but just in case I'm saying this inane nonsense so that people can realize it first and agree with me because it feels kind of like it was their own idea now. Basically, Stasis is your minion fuck off button. You press it once and all of your minions disappear. You press it again and they come back as they were. The idea here is that minions could be paused, kind of like how the Shaper or the Trial Master would completely pause the game state, except localized to just your minions. This does a lot of things, but most importantly it solves the problem of how the fuck do we make the Searing Exarch not an unfair nightmare? Because as it stands, the only real way to make a minion build comfortable on a boss with mechanics like the Searing Exarch is to kill him before he can ever do that attack. If minion builds could get to that level consistently and easily, GGG would just nerf it, and let's please go to the long-term alternative on that one. This isn't just good for bosses though. If you play Absolution or Herald of Purity or Herald of Agony or Dominating Blow or SRS or whatever, you know it's like to do Harvest and feel pressured to pick a plot as quickly as possible. The game is dangerous, and having your minions despawn while you're trying to make an intelligent decision feels really bad. It also happens in Expedition, in Metamorph, in the end loot rooms of Grand Heist, and of course while fishing. As more mechanics are added to the game, both in boss design and as league content, it's likely minion builds are going to become increasingly squeezed and limited by the AI of their minions. Just as certain pieces of content need to be changed or culled to prevent them from becoming a greater problem long-term, certain measures have to be taken to reinforce a playstyle going forward as well. Strike skills need easier and easier access to striking additional targets modifiers. General defenses need to be made stronger as the overpowered outliers are reined in, and minion builds need new ways to manage their minions as the game becomes more complex. Of course, there might be other ways to solve this problem, but that's why you make a video like this, to get people talking and to raise awareness of possible solutions. My hope is that people recognize this issue for the problem it will grow into and not just the significant annoyance it is now. There's a reason a lot of mechanics now generate on-hit for unique enemies, and it goes right to the core of why we need something like a Stasis ability now.